into the ongoing political situation in Thailand. Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra is struggling to survive the ongoing political crisis she is facing as a result. The last straw being the leaked audio clip of the conversation she had with Hun Sen, former Prime Minister of Cambodia, who is the father of the current Prime Minister Hun Manet. Hun Sen is very close to Thaksin Shinawatra, Paetongtarn's father. And Paetongtarn has been quite close to Hun Manet, the Prime Minister of Cambodia. But with the explosion of the border conflicts, both families have encountered a so-called breakup. Officially, Paetongtarn has declared that I'm not going to talk to Uncle Hun Sen anymore because he leaked the audio clip, which was supposed to be a private conversation. And now she claims that even with the leakage, she has not gained anything, and that Thailand has not suffered from her conversation with Hun Sen, which, of course, is not the case with the rest of the country. The protest movement is now being launched. At the same time, Paetongtarn is trying to reshuffle the cabinet after they pull out the withdrawal of Suthichai Thai, the second largest party in the coalition. Now, we see that Paetongtarn is trying to patch up with the army, because in her conversation with Hun Sen, she was saying that the army was on the opposite side with her government's position, which did not go well, not only with the army, but with the Thai people in general, seeing that statement whispering to Hun Sen as a very serious violation of trust. So now, with the protest movement going on, seeking an ouster, with cases being filed in the court and also at the Anti-Corruption Commission, trying to seek her resignation, she's now going to visit the border, to visit the soldiers, to show her support for the army. But obviously, this is a gambit to try to pacify the army, trying to ignore or to appear to be ignoring the protests in Bangkok. Now, what's happening is quite interesting. AI team, Ping and Pong, have unpacked the story, which includes a lot of developments, latest developments in Bangkok and in the border areas today, and to try to analyze how Paetongtarn plans to overcome this very serious threat to her political position. So let's deep dive into the story with Ping and Pong. Hi, Ping and Pong.
Welcome to Suthichai Live English Podcast. We give you the latest update on the political developments surrounding the series of protests and movements calling for the ouster of Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra of Thailand. On this deep dive, our core mission is, well, it's really to unpack the intricate web of political tensions swirling through Thailand right now. We're going to zero in on the growing public and political discontent that's specifically aimed at Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra. But what makes this deep dive particularly compelling, I think, is how we'll sharply contrast that mounting pressure with a very recent, highly strategic move she made, a personal visit to the critical Thai-Cambodian border. We'll be meticulously sifting through recent reports, official public statements, and the Prime Minister's itinerary to truly understand these rapidly shifting dynamics. It's a fascinating, complex picture, one that revealed, well, quite a lot about the current state of Thai governance.
And as we navigate this complexity, our deep dive will illuminate several crucial areas. We'll begin by exploring the diverse and increasingly vocal voices of dissent. These are coming from various influential groups. Then we'll analyze the intricate parliamentary maneuvering taking place, particularly a surprising development from within the ruling coalition itself. That's quite something. Finally, we'll critically examine the Prime Minister's direct and very public response to these mounting pressures. Ultimately, what do these specific actions and counteractions truly reveal about the underlying currents of Thai politics and, the nature of leadership as a challenging environment? It's not just about the events themselves, but what they signify for the nation's immediate future and its long-term trajectory.
Okay, let's unpack this then. It's clear there's a significant wave of dissatisfaction building, not just broadly against the government, but specifically targeting Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra. This isn't just one isolated incident, is it? It feels like a series of escalating pressures from different angles, creating a formidable challenge to her administration. And we can see this very clearly, starting with some highly visible public demonstrations that are, well, they seem more than just symbolic gestures.
Indeed. The KPT protest on June 25th is a prime example of this rising tide of public discontent. And it wasn't random. The Students and People's Network for Thailand's Reform, known as KPT, they're a veteran activist group led by Mr. Pichit Chemongkol. They didn't just stage a general protest, they chose a very specific and strategic target. They marched directly to the headquarters of the Roam Thai Sang Chart Party, the RTSCH party.
And they weren't shy about their message, were they? Looking at the reports, they carried some really pointed symbolic signs, signs that cut right to the core of their grievances. You had messages like, "Come out, don't be fooled by the bad PM," which sounds like a direct, almost pleading appeal to the RTSCH members themselves, sort of suggesting they're complicit if they stay. Then there's the more generalized, but still scathing, "Tired of lying politicians," and the blunt, uncompromising, "Get out," clearly aimed at the Prime Minister. But then, as you noted earlier, there were also those signs that resonated with a deeper, almost existential fear, like, "Wake up, Thais, before you lose your land," and that rallying cry, "Please come to join the rescue of the Thailand from danger." Those aren't just about dissatisfaction with policy, are they? They touch on fundamental issues, sovereignty, national identity, maybe even betrayal, tapping into anxieties about the nation's future.
What's truly fascinating here, I think, is the direct challenge to a coalition partner. In Thailand's often, fluid and fragmented political system, a public protest directly targeting a government ally like RTSCH. Well, it's a rare and potent tactic. It suggests that the protesters believe more can be gained by actively fracturing the ruling bloc than by simply demonstrating against the Prime Minister herself. This isn't just about pressuring a component. It's a deliberate attempt to peel off support, making it clear they believe RTSCH should abandon the current administration. This strategy aims to create internal disunity, which, as you know, has historically been a significant factor in the unraveling of Thai governments.
Exactly. So it's not just a broad anti-government protest, it's strategic, trying to undermine the Prime Minister's coalition from within. So this naturally leads us to wonder, why specifically RTSCH? What makes them a particular target for KPT above maybe other coalition members?
Well, the source highlights is a very important historical context here. It gives us a deeper insight into KPT's strategy. Many RTSCH members, a significant number in fact, were previously part of the People's Committee for Complete Democratic Reform with the King as head of state. You remember, the GPP. This historical connection is crucial because GPP was a prominent anti-Thaksin movement. They advocated for significant political reforms, constitutional changes. So by targeting RTSCH, the KPT is appealing directly to their perceived historical roots and principles. They're essentially telling RTSCH members, look, you were once at the forefront of reform. You should understand the public's current grievances and frustrations. Your principles should align with our demands for change, not with this Prime Minister. It's a powerful form of political shaming, really, trying to leverage their past against their present allegiances.
That's a powerful leverage point, isn't it? Appealing to their past principles, their ideological leanings. And Mr. Pichit, the KPT leader, he was very clear about the specific grievances driving their protest. It wasn't just some vague sense of unhappiness. He articulated very concrete issues.
Not at all vague. He outlined a series of very specific and concrete issues, making their demands clear and, well, actionable. Foremost among them was the alleged audio clip, one of the Prime Minister's conversation with former Cambodian leader Hun Sen. This clip was described as a key, perhaps the key trigger for their protest. KPT views this clip as exposing PM Pattongtarn's significant weakness and a profound lack of experience in critical international negotiation, especially when it comes to sensitive regional diplomacy. The perception is that she mishandled a delicate situation, potentially compromising Thailand's interests.
So it's not just about a perceived diplomatic misstep, but a fundamental question of her competence to lead on the world stage, especially concerning a sensitive and historically complex neighbor like Cambodia. This goes right to the heart of her leadership credibility, doesn't it?
Precisely. And this perceived misstep ties directly into their concerns about a broader border security crisis with Cambodia. For KPT, the alleged clip isn't just a gaffe. It's tangible evidence, in their view, that could jeopardize national sovereignty and border integrity. Beyond that specific issue, Mr. Pichit also cited broader political and social crises facing the country, indicating a general dissatisfaction with the government's overall management. They weren't just focused on one issue. They painted a picture of systemic failure across various domains, sort of suggesting a government adrift.
And he also specifically mentioned controversial government policies, didn't he? Particularly bringing up casinos. Now, that's a policy area that has certainly stirred up a lot of debate and public division in Thailand. Why is that particular issue so potent for groups like KPT?
Indeed. Policies like legalizing casinos often spark strong moral and social arguments in Thailand. They bring together diverse groups who might otherwise not align politically. Many in conservative and religious circles view gambling as morally corrupting, detrimental to society, leading to social ills. This opposition can cut across traditional political divides, making it a very sensitive issue for any government. And then there's the highly sensitive and deliberately vague 14th floor case. Now, for our global listeners, this is a veiled but widely understood reference to the controversial return of former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra from self-exile, and his subsequent, perceivedly lenient hospital stay despite a prison sentence. The mention of the 14th floor, the floor of the hospital where he was reportedly treated rather than a standard prison infirmary, became a symbol of perceived irregularities and favoritism extended to powerful political figures. The mere mention of it, without needing to elaborate, immediately signals a deep-seated and simmering resentment. It's tied to past political events and perceived injustices that many believe underscore a two-tiered justice system. It's a potent shorthand for a long-standing grievance that resonates with a significant portion of the public. The KPT, by highlighting these issues, believes Thailand urgently needs a leader who can navigate these complex crises with strength and integrity. And they explicitly stated there are other qualified candidates who could step into the role of prime minister.
And they're not stopping here, are they? This wasn't just a one-off protest to vent frustration. It sounds like they have a clear, long-term plan to maintain pressure.
Absolutely not. Mr. Pichit was very clear. While they are demanding PM Pattongtarn's resignation, they are not calling for a coup. That's a crucial distinction in Thailand, given its history of military interventions. Instead, they are advocating for a change in leadership through constitutional means. They emphasize that other qualified candidates are available, signaling a desire for a democratic transition, not an extra-constitutional upheaval. Crucially, they announced ambitious plans to visit all coalition parties after June 28th. This is a very systematic approach. If we consider the broader picture, this suggests a sustained campaign. A campaign to systematically destabilize the current government by applying pressure across the entire ruling bloc, aiming to erode its political base. Mr. Pichit anticipates a long fight ahead if the Prime Minister doesn't heed public sentiment. That indicates their commitment to sustained action and a belief that public opinion will eventually force the government's hand.
Yeah. So we saw a polite but ultimately, non-committal response from the RTSCH party itself. Dr. Hemalai Phuphan, RTSCH director, received the letter on behalf of the party, apologizing for the absence of the party leader and secretary general, and promising to convey the message. It feels like a standard political reception, doesn't it? Designed to acknowledge the protest without really yielding to its demands. Is that an accurate read?
That's a very accurate assessment. It's textbook, professional, diplomatic response. It fulfills the courtesy of receiving the protesters' demands, but it doesn't indicate any immediate intent to act on them. In Thai political culture, such a reception often buys time. It acknowledges the grievance without making commitments and effectively defers any immediate action. It's more about managing public optics and maintaining composure than signaling a shift in policy or allegiance. It suggests RTSCH is playing a cautious game. They don't want to alienate their coalition partners, but also don't want to dismiss a vocal segment of the public.
Okay, now let's pivot. Let's pivot to another, perhaps even more significant development on the very same day, June 25th. But this comes from a very different source. The Palang Prakrath Party, the PPRP, and their move towards a no-confidence motion.
Right. And here's where it gets really interesting. This reveals a deep fissure, I think, within the government. Mr. Paibun Nititon, the PPRP Secretary General, made a startling announcement. Party Leader General Prawit Wongsuwan, a highly influential and veteran political figure, instructed all PPRP members of parliament to sign a no-confidence motion against PM Paetongtarn under Article 151 of the Constitution.
Wait, hang on. PPRP is not an opposition party. They are a key component of the ruling coalition. What does it actually mean for a coalition partner to initiate a no-confidence vote against their own prime minister? How unusual is this in Thai political history? And what are the implications for government stability? This seems huge.
This move signals a profound and very public crack within the government itself. I mean, it's quite dramatic. In the often volatile landscape of the Thai coalition politics, a no-confidence motion initiated by a coalition partner is highly unusual and deeply destabilizing. It's not entirely unprecedented in political history worldwide, but in Thailand, it suggests that the internal fissures are now so pronounced that a key player like PPRP believes more can be gained by actively destabilizing the current leadership than by maintaining a fragile unity. If we connect this to the broader picture of Thai politics, it suggests a significant lack of trust, and a potential realignment of political forces are underway, threatening to unravel the entire administration. The stated reason from TPRP is clear and grave. PM Paetongtarn cannot be trusted due to actions that will lead the country into risk. They explicitly mentioned the Hun Sen audio clip as primary evidence of her weak leadership and lack of experience in international negotiations. This reflects a perception that goes beyond mere political disagreement. It frames the issue as one of national security and sovereignty being fundamentally at stake. It directly challenges her core competence to govern.
So it's not just that they don't like her policies. It's a direct accusation that her leadership itself is jeopardizing the nation's well-being and standing. That's a very serious charge to level against your own PM.
Exactly. It's an issue of perceived competence, integrity, and trustworthiness on critical national matters, particularly foreign policy and national security. For our listeners who may not be fully immersed in the mechanics of Thai parliamentary procedure, Article 151 of the Constitution is a powerful mechanism. It requires signatures from at least 1/5 of the total House members. And if the motion passes, it could lead to the Prime Minister's immediate dismissal. What makes this particular motion so explosive isn't just the article itself, but the fact that it's being initiated by PPRP, a party that shares power within the very coalition it seeks to, well, potentially dismantle. The fact that they are ready to sign this even before a new cabinet is fully formed or settled highlights the urgency and the deep division within the political elite. This leads us to a crucial question, doesn't it? Is this a genuine belief in the Prime Minister's incapability, a deeply held conviction that she's unfit to lead in this moment? Or is it a strategic play for more power, an attempt to leverage her perceived weakness to gain greater influence, or even to engineer a change in leadership to their advantage within the coalition? It's a calculated risk, a gamble on political fortunes, no matter how you look at it.
Okay, so beyond the direct political parties and activist groups, it seems there's also a significant mobilization of public resources happening. Let's talk about the public financial backing for a pro-sovereignty rally that was announced also on June 25th. This isn't just about protests, it's about mobilizing actual funds and resources. The sheer volume of funds and donors in such a short time is quite striking, isn't it? What does this tell us about the depth of public sentiment and their willingness to literally put their money where their mouth is?
What's truly fascinating here is the intersection of deep public concern, rapid financial mobilization, and a clear nationalistic agenda. Mr. Panthit Propompan, chairman of the Foundation for Protecting the Land, announced a truly significant public fundraising effort. In just 2 days, an astonishing 17,144,742.70 Thai baht was collected. That's from 2,848 donors. To put that in perspective for you, that's roughly $500,000 in a mere 48 hours, collected from a substantial number of individual contributors. This money was diligently deposited into Kazakhstan bank account of the Foundation for Protecting the Land, signaling a level of organization and public trust, the primary purpose of these funds, to support the Power of the Land to Protect Sovereignty group for a public rally scheduled for June 28th at the iconic Victory Monument in Bangkok.
So the funds are directly tied to an upcoming physical demonstration. It's not just a general show of amorphous public support. This is a very tangible commitment.
Precisely. The rally aims to provide knowledge and show patriotism to protect Thai sovereignty. This directly echoes the concerns raised by the KPT and the PPRP regarding the Prime Minister's handling of the Hun Sen clip and the broader border issues. It demonstrates a unified front of concern across different segments of society, all coalescing around the theme of national sovereignty and the perceived threats to it. The rapid success of this fundraising effort underscores that these concerns are not just fringe sentiments. They seem to be deeply held beliefs among a significant portion of the populace who are willing to financially support a movement they believe in.
And the transparency around these funds is also quite notable, isn't it? It suggests a deliberate effort to build public trust, perhaps.
Yes, it is. The fact that the funds were deposited into a specific named foundation account, with clear instructions for payment to be authorized by at least 2 out of 3 named signatories, Mr. Pantha Papongpan himself, along with Mr. Kaisan Atafo and Mr. Nithathorn Lamlur, demonstrates a commitment to accountability and trust. This also highlights a well-organized network, capable of rapid public fundraising, which is a significant factor in political mobilization, of course. Furthermore, the allocation of any remaining funds after the project closure on June 29th is particularly revealing. They will be donated or used to purchase supplies to support the work of the Second Army area. This stipulation that surplus funds go to a military unit further reinforces the focus on national security and defense. It signals a strong anti-establishment, perhaps pro-military undercurrent among these groups. It indicates where their sympathies and ultimate trust might lie, often in contrast to civilian political leadership. It suggests a deeply rooted belief that the military is a key protector of national sovereignty.
So, with all this pressure mounting in Bangkok from grassroots movements gaining significant financial backing to an unprecedented challenge from a key coalition partner, what has the Prime Minister been doing? It seems she's chosen a very different approach, literally heading out of the capital, away from the direct confrontation, to a highly strategic location. Let's unpack her visit to the border.
This is indeed a critical strategic move. It offers a very deliberate counter-narrative to the mounting pressure she faces. Mr. Jirai Huangsup, the Prime Minister's spokesperson, announced that PM Patomtarn Shinawatra, along with a truly high-level delegation, visited Sa Kaeo province on June 26th. Sa Kaeo, for those unfamiliar, is a province that shares a direct, often sensitive, and economically vital border with Cambodia. The choice of location is no accident, you'd think. It's directly relevant to the core of the criticisms against her.
And the composition of that delegation is striking. We're talking about the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Defense, the Prime Minister's Secretary General, the Commander of Army Region 1, permanent secretaries from the Interior, Commerce, and Digital Economy Ministries, the Director General of the Customs Department, and the Deputy Commander of the Border Patrol Police. This isn't just any trip, it's a very senior delegation accompanying her. What does the sheer composition of this group tell us about the priorities of this visit, especially given the criticisms she's facing in the capital?
Well, the presence of such a diverse and exceptionally high-ranking group of defense, security, and economic ministers and officials, it underscores the multifaceted nature of the border issues. And crucially, the government's perceived holistic approach to them. It's not just about military security. It's also about critical aspects like cross-border trade, which is vital for local economies, ensuring economic stability for the local population, and law enforcement, particularly in combating transnational crime like the pervasive call center gangs that have become a major public grievance. The Commander of Army Region 1, for instance, is a critical figure in border security operations. His presence, alongside the Minister of Defense, sends a strong message about the military's commitment and cooperation. This raises a very important question, listen, is the presence of so many key figures an attempt to project an image of strength, competence, and comprehensive control in managing a sensitive area that is currently a flashpoint of criticism? It certainly suggests a deliberate effort to demonstrate the government's collective focus and capabilities on these very issues, aiming to counteract the narrative of weak leadership.
And her agenda for the day was equally comprehensive, wasn't it? She didn't just make a quick ceremonial stop. She truly immersed herself in the practicalities of the border environment, touching on various aspects of life and security there.
Indeed. The day started bright and early in the morning at Aranya Prathat School. There, she chaired a crucial meeting specifically on the impact of border crossing measures, particularly the opening and closing of checkpoints with Cambodia. She received detailed briefings on the intricacies of border trade, agricultural issues impacting local livelihoods, and significantly, the prevention of call center gangs and other forms of transnational crime that plague the region and are a major source of public frustration nationwide. This immediate focus demonstrated a direct engagement with the daily challenges faced by those living on the border.
So tackling both economic and security issues, which are so intertwined at the border right off the bat, it shows a multi-pronged approach.
Exactly. Then in mid-morning, the delegation moved to the Klong Luk border crossing itself. This is directly opposite Poipet, Cambodia, one of the busiest and most significant land crossings between the two nations. This was a very public engagement. She didn't just observe from a distance. She actively visited the crossing, met directly with the general public, engaged with local entrepreneurs who rely heavily on cross-border trade for their livelihoods, and took time to encourage the officials working tirelessly on the front lines, from customs to immigration. This direct interaction helps project an image of a leader who is engaged, hands-on, and empathetic to the people affected by the border dynamics, rather than someone detached in Bangkok.
And she didn't just focus on the economic and civilian aspects. She also made a point of engaging with the military and the broader local community, didn't she? Sending a very clear message of support to those on the front lines.
Absolutely. In the afternoon, the Prime Minister traveled to Ban Dong Gu. There she met and directly encouraged soldiers on duty in the area. This was a highly symbolic gesture of support for those protecting the nation's frontiers, a clear attempt to boost morale and publicly acknowledge their role, potentially countering narratives that she is indifferent to national security. Following that, she engaged with students and teachers at the Border Patrol Police School, Praharat Bamrong 1. This further emphasizes the government's commitment to education and welfare in these sensitive border regions, highlighting investment in the future of these communities. Finally, she rounded off her trip by encouraging Volunteer Defense Corps at the Aranya Prathet District Office, demonstrating appreciation for grassroots efforts in security and community protection.
From schools to bustling border crossings to military bases and local defense groups, it seems like a very comprehensive itinerary, designed to cover security, economy, and community welfare. What's the key message she's trying to send with these diverse engagements, especially considering the intense pressure she's facing back in Bangkok?
What's truly illuminating here, I think, is the strategic choice of location and the sheer diversity of her interactions. By choosing to focus on a border region, she's directly confronting and attempting to address the very issue of sovereignty and national security that has been central to the public outcry against her, particularly concerning that Hun Sen clip. Meeting with soldiers and border officials is a clear, visible gesture of support for those protecting the nation's frontiers, which could potentially aim to counter narratives of weak or inexperienced leadership by demonstrating she is actively involved in these critical areas. It's a very visual way to demonstrate strength where she's being accused of weakness. She's literally on the ground, seemingly taking charge. Furthermore, if we connect this to the broader political narrative, engaging with local communities, businesses, and even school children serves multiple purposes. It highlights the government's stated concern for everyday life in these sensitive areas, attempting to project an image of a proactive and engaged leader who cares about the welfare of all citizens, not just the political elite in the capital. This could also be a very deliberate effort to demonstrate her capabilities in areas where the public has expressed significant concern, trying to build a new...
Part of the conversation, the podcast between Ping and Pong, our AI team of reporters, trying to understand or make it clear as to what is happening in the local political arena, latest developments today and tomorrow. So we can update you on a daily basis on what's happening in Thailand. Suthichai Live English Broadcast will cover the whole spectrum of events: political, economic, social, diplomatic, and every subject is of interest about Thailand, about ASEAN, and about the region. Thank you very much for listening to Suthichai Live English Podcast. Until the next episode, stay tuned. Bye-bye. 1.5 ล้านแล้วครับ1.5 ล้านคน ผู้ที่ติดตาม Subscribe สุทธิชัย Live ใน YouTube ขอบคุณทุกท่านนะครับที่กดแชร์กดไลค์และขอบคุณเป็นพิเศษสำหรับผู้ติดตามสุทธิชัย Live ใน YouTube ที่กด Super Chat Super Sticker เป็นกำลังใจให้กับทีมงานของผมครับ 1.5 ล้านวันนี้ตั้งเป้า2 ล้านก่อนสิ้นปีขอบคุณทุกท่านที่ช่วยกันครับ